Good morning, buongiorno. Come state? How are you? It comes more natural to me to speak Italian today because I am in my parents' house in Italy, northeast of Italy. Very cold. It's colder than the UK. So I've actually decided to do a live here close to this very nice fire. Okay, so I have a lot to talk about today. Better start. And then at the end of the session, I'm going to show you the mountains from the view in this beautiful land called Friuli Venezia Giulia, which is where I was born in Italy. Okay, so let's start straight away from where I left in the last previous days, okay? So I have communicated a lot about systems and business and nervous system recently because I'm working a lot on it in my programs, and especially it has been one of the main topics in the hub, which is this place where lots of the teachers working with me meet. So we are about 65 people in the hub, and we are all musicians, teachers, music therapists, facilitators, and in the hub we all connect daily, weekly, through various way of being together, but we're growing together. Our business, our music teaching, lots of different aspects from our work. So I decided to open something that I haven't done before. I opened a self-assessment test for teachers, musicians, facilitators, singers, okay? And I received lots of responses, read them all very carefully, and I loved them. And so before I carry on with this particular session, what I want to tell you is what I actually saw in the responses of all the teachers that filled the self-assessment test. So, what emerged from all the responses of the teachers, which are teachers coming from many different contexts, many different countries, okay? There was Italy, Austria, Germany, South America, the States, Australia. So very generalized situation. Basically, what emerged is that there is obviously not a lack of talent in the people that are following me here. Amazing profiles of people, but there is a clear pattern. Many of the people that did the test have some version of, I have something working, I have a project working, I have a business working, but I know it could grow much more. I know it could bring me much more. So the same sentence again and again, the same pattern again and again. Some of you, for example, are teaching in schools and feel very stuck. Some others have private students, but not a clear structure. They would like to build their own business, their own project, their own venue, have their own music studio, and they are very confused on how to get from where they are now to the next step. Some others are running already workshops, but they are not quite filled. They are half empty. Some others have an online presence, but this presence doesn't convert, so they don't understand what's the point of actually using social media. Some others are juggling, moving from one place to the next, doing many things, surviving a chaotic life. So underneath all of this, I felt that there was one very strong thing. A lot of competence, but very little containment, very little structure in this. So many of you are holding too many threads at the same time, okay? Threads at the same time, like lots of projects, ideas, responsibilities, and fear as well. And the fear, it's not just for financial reasons, but also for energetic reasons. Will I be able to continue with this life? how can I continue earning so little and put so much energy into this job? Okay, there was a person that wrote something that really touched me. It's like, I think I've tried a lot of options and I'm about to give up. And that was very sad, because he's a very competent person that have been working in music education for many years. So it's a shame. So I think that it is important to clarify one thing. When I started reading these sentences, I obviously felt like an important thing. This is not personal failure. The fact that maybe you're not yet where you would like to be is not because you're not trying hard enough. And obviously it's not because you're not doing enough, okay? Because obviously we're working many hours, trying many options. So we all start from extraordinary skills. We have deep empathy. We have long teaching experience. We are music therapists, psychologists, music teachers and psychologists at the same time. We are spiritual people, and we do have the ability to truly see children, families, the people around us. People that come to you, to me, to us, because they trust us, because they feel held and heard, because they feel understood. So we are incredibly good in what we're doing, and we're bringing a very big value to our society. But there is a but. The but is, why are we not earning enough? Why our work has not been recognized? Why schools are not giving us what we should earn, what we should get paid? Okay, so words like positioning, branding, social media, when these words come up, our bodies are like, I don't like this. Why should I promote myself? Why should I put myself out so much? There is fears of judgment. There is fears of losing time, energy, approval. And obviously, I'm not here telling you should use social media. I'm just talking about positioning yourself and branding, which are things that are connected to social medias, but not only, okay? You can transform what people see about yourself, not only through social medias, okay? So these tell me, again, something very important when we're talking about, positioning yourself or branding yourself. The problem is not that you don't have value enough, but the problem is that your value doesn't yet have a clear, sustainable form to you, okay? And this is where leadership comes in, okay? So leadership is not about having everything figured out or having power, okay? It's not being willing to step in, but yeah, it's about deciding to step into a wider perspective, okay? To yourself first. So it's about moving from, I'm scattered, I feel really scattered between many things that I do, and sentences like, oh, I need to fix myself, there is something wrong in what I do, I'm not good enough, to, I need a structure that can actually hold who I am and how I can bring myself out in the proper way. Obviously, personally, this is very important to me. As someone with ADHD, I know very well what it means to think and spiral, get all of these type of thoughts that are recurring thoughts and that stay with me and block me, okay? Or having huge visions and deciding to do many things at the same time, being pulled by ideas of other people, accepting projects even if they're not mine or if I don't have the time and the energy to do them. I feel very, very deeply, feel very intensively, and also struggle inside systems that were not built for the type of brain and the type of kind of brain that I have. So for a neurodivergent person specifically, what changed my work and my life was not becoming more disciplined, okay? But it was about how I was leading myself, what type of energy, how I was using my communication. And it was learning about my business in a way that respects my nervous system instead of a system where my nervous system have to fight to survive. Okay, so this live, it's not about a quick fix, although I will give you three important steps at some point that really helped me, and I hope they can help you as well. So for me, this live, it's about starting thinking in a different way, starting thinking that what is already there is great. What wants to grow in you? What wants to be left behind? And what kind of leadership is being asked of you now? Okay, so today I want to give you these type of lenses, okay, a new way of thinking. Some questions that you can start working with yourself immediately, okay? Just to have them resonating. This is a type of work that we do in my business programs, okay? Yes, there are parts where I explain to you the most important things of social medias, and we carry on looking into that and we update them as social media change, for example. And we talk about newsletters, what to write, what not to write, the systems, sale pages in the website. Okay, there is also all of that, which is obviously important. But the real work that we do when we go live together in the Zoom calls is about this, okay? So, if you recognized yourself in any of what I just shared, I think that it's important, potentially you will like what I'm gonna say now, okay? Nothing I wrote in the self-assessment, the questions that I wrote in the self-assessment test were random, and nothing that the people that responded and filled the self-assessment test responded was random, okay? What it told me, that test told me, is that the people out there, okay, that follow me, the teachers out there that follow me, the musicians, the facilitators, are, most of them, at a threshold, okay? A moment where what used to be and was to work, maybe was to work a little bit, not completely, it's no longer enough. That where our effort alone, it's not enough to make things work anymore, okay? Where adding more project, more hours, more ideas creates a lot of fragmentations instead of give you clarity of the direction you want to take in your life. Okay, I became very good at that. Very good, probably because of ADHD, so it was kind of a survival issue. So when we usually reach this threshold, when we get to this point, we tend to ask ourselves the wrong questions, okay? We tend to say, what should I do next? What strategy should I use that I'm not using? Am I using the right social media platform? Should I focus on one thing or should I focus on the next? Am I writing with the right words my emails, my newsletter? But actually the real, more important, fundamental question when we decide to have our own project and see where the project starts focusing, the real question should be, from which level am I leading my work right now? At what point am I at? So leadership doesn't start with an action and then an action and then an action, but it starts with a bigger perspective, okay? So this is where I want to bring you today, okay? in this live, I'm not going to give you a list of things to fix. Like, work on your social media in this way, work on that in the other way. This is what we do when we know each other already and we are in the calls, okay? But alongside that, there is a lot more. So I'm not going to tell you what to post, or that you need to post more, or that you need to post 3 times a week. It's not about that, okay? Or you need to work harder, or that you need to push yourself more, okay? But I'm going to tell you now the 3 shifts that these 3 lenses that really completely changed my work. And they didn't come in 1 second, okay? It took a bit of time for me, so I hope they're gonna help you. I started by how you see your work. So I started by how I saw my own work. What was important for me in my own work. Then I started analyzing the way in which I was speaking about my own work. Not only when I was on social medias, but actually when I was in person with the people. What sentences, what words I was using to describe my work and my profession. And then how I built something that actually grew without draining me, okay? It did. It did in a lot of periods of my life, and that's why I learned how to avoid that. So these shifts sit exactly at the intersection of leadership, business, and communication. Okay, these 3 things are always connected when we're talking about creating our own project or working on our own business, okay? And this can work and can be applied whether you're working in schools, in therapy, in workshops, privately, okay? So they're absolutely important for, let's say, neurotypical people, but they are incredibly important for highly sensitive people or neurodivergent nervous systems, okay? And they are important to actually potentially see them, not just in our business, but they can be transferable to other fields of our life, especially if we are neurodivergent, okay? So, what I'm going to invite you to do in this next 15-20 minutes, maybe less, is I would like to invite you to do one thing, okay? When you're listening, don't try to figure out immediately, okay, so what should I do now? What should I do next? No, listen and simply notice in yourself when something clicks in your body, okay? The 99% of the people that work with me have responses that come from their body, okay? They're different parts of their bodies. Can be the mind, can be their tummy, okay, can be their heart. Listen where that clicks, okay? And what we don't do sometimes is that we don't follow that voice. But actually, when we learn how to follow that voice, there is a special change, okay? So notice where you feel maybe some relief, or notice if you feel tension, resistance, okay? Where there is resistance, there is a lot of explanations to try to discover, okay? So let's go with the 3 core shifts that I've done in my leadership, business, and communication, okay? So first, I stopped asking myself, what should I do? But I started thinking where I was leading from, okay? Difficult sentences, but they do make sense when you are in the process, okay? So most of the questions I asked, actually, most of the questions that I found somehow in the self-assessment test that I shared with you guys. And if you want to do it, you can do it. You can just send me a message and I can share it with you again, okay? So most of the things that I found within your sentences were action questions, okay? How do I grow? How do I structure this? How do I make it work financially? How do I communicate better? And obviously these are all important questions, but they all come after something else. Okay, before the strategy, before the structure, before what type of content we can write in our social medias or in our newsletter, there is your position, there is your leadership, there is how you feel oriented. Okay, so right now many of the people that responded to the test are kind of working inside the same problem. Tiredness, losing maybe some work, feel the pressure to make it work, so keep pushing, comparing themselves with others. Why should I do this if someone else is already doing it before me? Okay, so it's like the feeling was like I need to hold everything together. It's a complicated place where to be, so I need to hold everything together. Okay, and when we are leading our project and our life from this place, everything feels very heavy, okay? Because we feel that business, it's kind of surviving. That social medias feel like I'm exposing myself, okay? It kind of is, obviously, but it can be done in very different ways where it actually can work for yourself, your own self-reflection and your own self-awareness. That is what social media have been for me, okay? And where maybe planning the next steps feels very overwhelming. Oh my God, okay, I want to change my business, but I can see all of these steps that I need to do, and I don't even have the energy to start that. So what am I going to do? I'm just staying where I am right now. That's not a great way. So the first shift is realizing that you don't need to do more, okay? But you do need to move one step out of a problem, okay? So instead of asking yourself, how do I fix this? Start asking, what can I see from a wider perspective? Okay, I'll give you an example. Somebody came to me in my projects and said, in my business program, and said, we don't actually have all the subscription that we were expecting to have now in January. We only have 25 new people. 25 new people over Christmas for a small school that just opened literally 4 months ago. For me, is an incredible result, okay? We had 60 new subscriptions over Christmas time, but Music Tree have been open for 7 years. 5 actually, if we consider that we opened the new venue in 2021 and we lost a lot of students because we moved from one place to the next. So these people, these teachers that were working with me, were not really considering the wider perspective of their place in that moment right now, but they were just seeing themselves through all the steps that I had done previously. So the perspective is absolutely fundamental. So for me, again, someone with ADHD, this was essential. My brain doesn't work in a straight line, okay? My energy is not consistent day to day. So leading from discipline only just doesn't work. I need to feel how I am today. How am I going to, what am I going to bring out to my teachers next? What does interests me? Okay, a person, for example, with ADHD is driven by the real motivation, not by discipline. So if I don't bring to my audience what really interests me, I cannot even write a post. I would never spend an hour thinking of what I need to write on my Instagram or social media if I really don't love what I'm going to speak about, okay? So consistency, what does consistency means to me? What does consistency mean to you? How can I plan where I want to be in a year time if I actually have no clue of what am I going to do in 2 months? It's all possible. It's all possible also with a brain like this, okay, which is really spread around musicians and artists, okay? So what worked was learning to lead from the clarity of my nervous system, of my brain, not from not from fear, not from a position where other people have put me before, or from a traditional way of running a business potentially. Okay, society is changing so quickly. In 2026, we are doing jobs that we would not even imagine were existing 5 years ago. Okay, and my next project, which potentially is going to be out in 2 months, I still have no clue which one is going to be. Okay, so we can live in this way. We don't have to go to an office 9 to 5 every day. We are now at home potentially a lot of hours, or we travel between places. So all our energies, all our way of living is different from what it was 20 years ago. We don't have to keep going in that way. Okay, so for me, it was important to realize this. This is who I am. This is how my system works. This is how my brain works. This is how I process emotions. And this is a kind of structure that can actually hold me, work for me. My business programs start from here. Is this something that you have ever considered for yourself? I hope so. So, the first step is not an action, is a position for yourself. Second shift, it was in communication. It was about understanding that I didn't have to explain what I do, but I needed to explain what was invisible for other people. Okay? So once your leadership position shifts, also communication changes automatically. Okay? So how do most people and most teachers use social medias? Most people communicate by explaining, okay? They explain what they do. They will say how their session works. They will tell what's the time of their session, where are they led, why they are good, why people should come to them because their philosophy is this, their teaching is based on that. Okay, so explanations rarely creates an action or an activation from the other side. Okay. People don't change when they understand explanations, okay? But they change when they can recognize themselves, when they have a matching point, when they can see themselves in the other person, okay? And this is where your position, your leadership meets communication, okay? So let's do some examples, okay? And this topic, I've also brought it in a much deeper way into my mastermind, EduBrand Mastermind, which is where some teachers are right now. I will tell you about that later. So, your clients, for example, a mother, okay, a mom, if you are a music teacher, a mom won't wake up in the morning saying, "Oh, my child needs to listen more Mozart. Needs to listen to more Mozart to get better at music." They won't wake up in this way, okay? A mother will wake up by saying, "I really want my child to be able to play the violin one day." So, or another thing would be like, if you are, for example, working with somebody that is restructuring their work, okay? They won't wake up in the morning and they would say, "Oh, I need a new business model." No, they will wake up by saying, "I don't want to worry about money anymore." Okay, so do you understand that it's very important to name in the communication the real problem before actually people are able to name the problems themselves? Okay, let me just see. Somebody just arrived, so I might move in another room. live in this very nice, warm place. Yeah, I'm gonna go in another room. Okay, let me go here. This house is very big, so there are plenty of spaces where I can speak from. And there's a nice sun. Okay, so when we are talking, when we're speaking, when we're using our communication, we need to name the real problem before people can actually understand how to name it themselves. Okay, let's go back to the example of a mother that says, I want my child to play violin. If you write this in your posts, it's much more stronger, for example, than saying, my child needs to listen to more music, to more Mozart in the morning. Okay, so we have to really start confidently using real sentences. And these people will this type of communication will really relax the people that reads our social media posts, okay? And this is not marketing magic, but it's really like a way of making their nervous system feel safe. This person that wants to teach me music really understands my starting point. Oh, they really see what I think as a mother and how I want to develop the musicality of my child. Or another sentence could be, let me think about, if you're, for example, a vocal coach or a singing teacher, somebody will wake up in the morning and they won't think, I need a series of 3 exercises in the morning to warm up my voice. Okay, saying, for example, that you are a vocal coach trying to teach teachers how to preserve their voice. Okay, you won't have a strong communication if in your posts are writing, here there are 3 vocal warm-ups. What is this noise? Wait a second, okay. So you won't have somebody really connecting with you if they're going to say, oh, here you can find 3 steps to... the whole family's arrived here now. They were all out, and I don't know why they're already here. So, sorry guys, I'm not in my usual studio, so there is a lot of noise that I would not expect to be here. I will reformulate the whole sentence in a quiet space. Okay, there we are, with loads of nice plush toys. Okay, hopefully this room is gonna work. Okay. To communicate to their clients how to preserve their voice. Okay, your communication will not be very effective if in your posts you write things like here 3 vocal warm-ups to help you don't lose your voice. Okay, no, you would have to change the perspective you're starting from. You would have to say something like I'm very tired. My voice is super tired. I have no clue of how I'm going to teach my 4 classes today. So changing this is very important. Okay. Many of us, when we were, studying marketing or some social media courses on how to use social medias, okay, we were taught that our way of working with the people was the problem. So we kept trying to explain ourselves better or reframing the story altogether many times. But instead, what we need to speak is just about the truth, okay? And say what it is true. So that's when the communication stop being heavy, draining, and start being simple. okay? For example, just to bring you some of my last sentences, okay? I had used, let me see this one. This one was saying, you're skilled, you've studied, you show up online, you've got years of experience. So why the hell your projects are still empty? Okay? And trust me, that is not easy. When you're not in this frame of mind of speaking the truth and say the things as they are, we have a lot of thoughts like, who do I think I am for, how do I find the courage to say things like that to other people? Okay? It's difficult sometimes. So this is the third shift from I need to be liked, I need to be appreciated by other people that read maybe my cousin reads my posts on social medias, to I'm going to be useful for someone else. My reel can really be useful for somebody else as well, okay? So this third shift is the one that usually creates the most resistance, okay? Because many of us, when we hear words like positioning, branding, visibility, okay, basically getting our work known out there. In 2026, this is the way, okay? In 2026, you don't work only because you apply for a random funding to the council and you stay there and wait for a year to see if the money come to you. Or you just simply wait until somebody calls you because you're good. Yeah, there is a lot of us, okay? People go on social media all the time also to look out for people. Okay, so what happens is that we need to be able to position ourselves. Even when we are opening a venue, we are opening a little music studio, okay? We need to be able to tell who we are or what we've done without hiding, because we don't want to feel like people would judge me because I'm saying how good I am in what I have actually done in many situations, okay? So it's like writing a curriculum, a CV. When you write a CV, you do put all the beautiful things that you've done, and you write that you were at the Carnegie Hall, and you write that you played, at Glastonbury, if you are in the UK, or that you were playing in RAI, if you were a violinist playing in RAI, which is one of their main TV channel in Italy. Okay, I'm just bringing examples. When you write in a CV, there's no problem. You are actually listing all the amazing things that you've done in your life, because that's what will give you your work. Well, using social media is kind of the same, but somehow, and there are reasons why, okay, I can't tell them all now, but when we use social medias, we feel naked. Okay, so we feel tension, anxiety, fear of judgment, old memories of sentences that people told us, okay? So that reaction doesn't mean that you're not ready to use social medias, or that social medias are very bad. Yes, they can be. They absolutely can be. But it means that something actually important is happening in yourself that you should listening to, okay? And that's the point. Most of us, music teachers, music facilitators, music therapists, even songwriters, okay, we have learned very early that if we want to be liked, if we want to be loved by people, we need to play it simple. We need to support. We need to give. Okay, we are giver. We are really giver when we do our profession, okay? You have been liked or you have been appreciated in your life for everything that you gave to people. So putting yourself in a different position by using social media really feels risky. Feels like you're betraying that person that was so much appreciated by others. Okay, so it can go really, really deep, okay? When we started speaking with authority, okay, our nervous system, especially as musicians, artists, sensitive people, teachers, our system interprets that authority as a danger to our social network. Okay, so what do? We soften our words, we hide behind what we really would like to say. Okay, but the leadership and your communication actually asks that. So the sentence and the shift that arrived in me was, instead of, am I trying to be liked? I started saying, am I trying to be useful? Okay, so instead of saying, I want other people to like me when they see my social media, I started saying, I want people to feel that I can help them. Okay, I want people to understand that I can be useful for them. So, usefulness creates the trust. Okay, the clarity in your message creates openness and relief on the other side. And this relief will create the connection, okay? And the people will come to you more because you're actually saying what things are, okay? And especially if you're naming a blind spot for someone, especially if you're not judging them, but you're giving them back the power to make a choice, to make the next step, to come potentially to you or ask for help somewhere if they need. Okay? So it's not about pleasing everyone when we are communicating, when we are using our social medias, when we are writing who we are on our website, but it's simply about leading them with clarity towards what we really are and what we really want to do. Okay? So these were the big 3 shifts that really helped me. Understanding my nervous system, my brain, what gives me energy. Understanding that my communication needed to really speak clearly the truth. And understanding that what was blocking me was the fear of being rejected by my social network. And it's not easy. It's not easy, okay? When I say things like, in 5 years, I moved from £5,000 in my bank account, or £5,000 of revenue to £400,000 in 5 years. When I say these things, my first reaction is, oh my God, if I actually say these things, what will the people that do body music with me and do retreats where we're actually all, super simple people, very connected with music, what will they think if they know that I'm actually earning well right now? What will they think if I know that I'm spending 2 days a week in a spa, doing saunas and whatever? Okay, will that change the perspective of who I am? So that fear is still there somehow. But yesterday I received an email from a group of them, and it was a lovely email. So they're actually asking for my help. Ta-da-dum! Just because my communication is clear. Again, just because I know where I'm starting from. Because my authority about myself, not about the rest of the world, is clear. Okay. So this hopefully helped you. And if you recognized yourself in these shifts, or you recognize yourself in the fears that I brought up, you recognize yourself in the fears that our teachers are shared in the self-assessment test. Again, if you want to receive the self-assessment test about your business, you can send me your request and I will share it with you. Maybe you are in the right moment to start working with me. The people in the self-assessment test were really interested in understanding what were the options to start working with me. But a lot of them could not come in the Zoom session that I opened the other day. Therefore, I decided to do this live here as well. So I can send this to them. Anyway, I have now 2 programs that are ready to be opened again because I have new space in my schedule. Easy, as like that. So one is called Spark, the other one is called EduBrand Mastermind. EduBrand Mastermind is the evolution of Spark. So if you are really at the beginning of your work, you don't have a logo, you don't have a structure, you feel that there's a lot of chaos in your life in between programs, you kind of really need to step out of working in different schools, and your website is not really clear, you haven't used the social medias before. Spark is your place, okay? For two reasons. The first reason is that it's a longer program. It lasts 1 year. And so that gives you a long time to really work on these things together, okay? And inside Spark, you have access to all my business programs, okay? So all social medias, which is called Sound Identity Lab. Then there are newsletter, then there are sale pages and websites. Then there are sessions on leadership, okay? So there are lots of programs within Spark that you would study autonomously from me. And then every month we meet in a Zoom session. You leave me your questions, or anyway, you give me the questions when we are meeting, and we speak about your program and your project live, okay? Spark also gives you access to the hub. The hub is the place where we meet daily, and where you also have extra Q&As every week and extra training every month on Zoom, plus occasions to see what other teachers are doing, because in Spark, we are in the hub, we are 65 teachers, literally from every corner of the world, with many different traditions, many different ways of doing music, and we all come together and we speak about how we bring music education or our music projects out there. But the hub is also a place where you can talk about your teaching. So there is people that actually ask me teaching question about pedagogy. Okay, so we also have a room in the hub that is dedicated to resources. So we share material, we share songs. Okay, the hub is not just a place where we talk about business. It's a place where we talk about everything: nervous system, communication, teaching, psychology, business. Okay, so the hub is fundamental, and that's why it's inside Spark. Spark lasts a year, as I said. It has monthly Q&As, monthly group Q&As. And if you sign up before the 31st of January, there are also 2 bonus calls, individual bonus calls. The first one is to start the path together, and so I can understand better your work in a private way. And then the second one is 6 months after, so when we are halfway through your work. But also there are occasional only to book extra sessions with me directly if you really want that. Then there is EduBrand Mastermind, okay? So one cycle of EduBrand Mastermind is ending in March, and there are 5 people in it right now. It's a smaller group, and this is if you are already to the next level, in the next level of your business, okay? So if you're just starting with social media, if you're just understanding how to move from schools to your own private studio, if you are already having a big mailing list where you communicate constantly with, if you have done loads of years in your work, then EduBrand, it's your place. Spark, it's not your place anymore. Okay, if you already have all of this, if you're okay with social medias, okay to post, okay to write a message, then EduBrand Mastermind is your place, okay? And it lasts only 6 months, and it gives you like the push that you need to really make the next steps, okay? So it's not a place where you want to go calm. where you want to take your time to understand how to write your post on social medias. No, that's Spark. If you feel you're already in the next step, then you have to go to EduBrand Mastermind, because we work together in a very small group every month for 6 months. We have specific trainings that are dedicated to those 5 people together, okay? And the work is done within them as well. So these people are in contact constantly, also through the hub, because the hub is part of EduBrand Mastermind. And and so there is a constant communication, a constant growth, a constant research on how to really make a very fast improvement in our business or music projects, okay? So that is EduBrand Mastermind. Also, I forgot to say, but in EduBrand Mastermind, there is also Spark, okay? So you can access to all my business programs anyway, and to the hub. And in EduBrand Mastermind, you also have the options to book 4 private calls in 6 months. So as you can see, it's a much closer type of work. Okay, so I said everything that I wanted to say. I really hope that the live that I run today is going to help you to understand better where you're at in your business right now, if you're ready to start working on it for real, if you're ready to make the steps that are bringing you to places that you can't even see right now. These sentences feel a bit fake sometimes, right? But trust me, I would have never said, like if I go back to the Tiziana of 5 years ago when I've opened Music Tree, that had these dreams of, changing a lot of things in her life. Yeah, where I am at right now in 5 years, I would have never expected to be in 5 years. I thought that would have been like at least a 10-year plan. And I am much further into that plan after only 5 years. So if you have any questions, any doubts, I have a bit of time now. You can write me something there. If you have like practical questions about how Spark works or how EduBrand Mastermind works. Oh, as I said, EduBrand Mastermind is a small place. So it's only for 5 people, 5 or 6 people max. Whilst Spark is a wider program that allows us to be in contact for a longer time. So there is not so much pressure when you work. Instead of EduBrand Mastermind, you need to be ready to put the 5th gear and work. Okay. I think that there are no other questions. I will share this live to the people that has done the self-assessment test. Again, the self-assessment test for your business is available and you can ask me. I will share it with you. So just comment here, test, if you want, and I will share it with you after I post this live. Okay, thank you so much for being here today. And notice what your body says, okay? That's usually the most reliable answer. Bye-bye. Have a good day.